Here is the full English translation of your detailed script while preserving every detail, emotion, and structure in long-form cinematic storytelling style. As you prefer, the story begins in the year 1972 with a plane flight numbered 571, which is transporting a rugby team from South America to Santiago, Chile. There are 45 passengers on board. As the aircraft flies over the world's longest mountain range, the Andes mountain Zit suddenly encounters a violent snowstorm. The pilot loses control, and the plane crashes into a massive rock formation. The impact is so intense that the plane splits into two parts. The front portion, carrying the passengers, slides deep into the snow. Many passengers lose their lives instantly, while the remaining survivors try desperately to settle themselves in the harsh, freezing conditions. When they check on the pilots, they find that they too have perished. The survivors begin helping each other, but as night falls, the temperature plummets dangerously. The cold becomes unbearable, and icy winds seep in through the exposed section of the plane. Fear spreads among them. Some are convinced they won't make it through the night. The others try to calm them down, and together they seal the open end of the plane, using supplies and even the bodies of the deceased to block the wind. When they wake up the next morning, the storm is past. However, more passengers have died overnight. Those who remain step outside. The sun is out and it's slightly warmer, but they all know they can't survive long in these mountains. They gather what little food they have and ration it among everyone. They believe the government must already be aware of the crash and that rescue efforts will be on the way soon. The crash site is located in a valley, surrounded by steep cliffs, making escape nearly impossible. Suddenly, a plane appears in the sky. Everyone becomes overjoyed, thinking help has arrived. But the rescue plane is flying too high to spot them. Despite their screams, it flies past and disappears. Realizing their location is too hidden to be seen from above, they now have to survive on their own. 3 days pass. A boy named Nando regains consciousness. He rushes to his sister, who is in terrible condition. She informs him that their mother and father have died, leaving him shattered. The group needs drinking water, so they begin melting snow. They also make a large X sign using their bags and objects, hoping it will be visible from the sky. They try to reflect sunlight with a mirror to catch the attention of another passing plane. Soon, another plane appears. Once again, they cheer with hope. But despite the X sign and the mirror reflections, the plane does not see them. It flies away. The realization dawns: they are truly alone. The government doesn't know their exact location, and no one is coming. They decide to try and reach the tail end of the plane, which broke off during the crash and may still contain vital supplies, especially batteries to power the radio. A few members begin the journey upward, but they realize that the wreckage lies in a deep ravine, making visibility from above impossible. As they climb, an avalanche begins to shift the snow, forcing them to return to camp. Now, a full week has passed. Their food is nearly finished. There are no trees, no animals, no natural source of sustenance. Desperate, they try eating moss on rocks. But it tastes so horrible they can't swallow it before continuing with the story. A humble request: 99% of viewers watch the videos but don't subscribe or like. So please like and subscribe to the channel, it really helps one day. Nando says that if eating the bodies of the deceased is what it takes to survive, he is willing to do it. Some others agree, but a few strongly oppose this, claiming it goes against morality. Still, as more days pass and hunger deepens, they start chewing cigarette filters and even shoelaces. After 3 weeks, everyone is at their breaking point. Nando's sister passes away. He has now lost his entire family in the crash: his mother, father, and sister. The group, left with no options, begins to consume the bodies of their deceased companions to stay alive. Soon, they discover a bag buried in the snow. Inside is a radio. They try to power it on, but there is no signal. They then build a makeshift antenna, which finally allows some signal to come through. They listen to the radio and are crushed to learn that the government sent over 60 rescue missions, but none found them. Authorities now believe all passengers are dead and have called off all search efforts. With this devastating news, everyone realizes they must save themselves because no help is coming. Even the 5 who had refused to eat the dead now begin doing so out of necessity. The next day, 3 men try climbing again to escape, but freezing winds force them to turn back. One night, while all are inside the fuselage, an avalanche strikes. Snow floods the wreckage, trapping several people. Inside, while trying to dig each other out, one woman dies. Amidst the chaos, a young man named Roy, or Roy Numa, begins to panic. He bangs on the window, and in doing so, a shard of glass pierces his leg. Yet Roy doesn't stop. He keeps digging until, after many exhausting hours, he finally breaks through to the surface. Everyone still alive is able to climb out. Leg is badly injured and completely numb from the cold. They clear out the snow and attempt to resuscitate one of their injured friends with CPR, but he passes away. In his pocket, they find a farewell letter addressed to his parents, which they keep safe. Now, 36 days have passed. Nando and a few others once again head toward the mountain to reach the tail section. Soon, Nando collapses. The group checks his wounds and sees how bad they are. Nando urges them to leave him and go on, but they refuse. Press forward and finally reach the rear section of the plane. Inside, they find clothes, food, and the batteries they need. They call the others up. Everyone is elated. But when they try to power the radio, they realize it's broken. Nando's condition worsens. He stops eating. He doesn't want to waste food because he knows he won't make it. They then find a large waterproof tarp in the plane, which they craft into a sleeping bag. Listening to a smaller radio they had found earlier, they learn the Air Force is sending a rescue mission one final time. They have now been stranded for over 60 days. Nando, on the brink of death, tells his friends with his final breath, "After I die, use my body for food. That way, I'll live on in you. If even one of us survives, our sacrifices won't be in vain." His words fill everyone with courage and hope. 2 members of the group decide to try one last time to escape. They climb even higher and reach the mountain's peak, only to find endless mountains in all directions. There seems to be no way out. But they know returning means death, so they push forward. After several days, they come across a river and drink desperately. Then, across the water, they spot a man on horseback. At first, they think it's a hallucination, but quickly realize it's real. They scream for help, but the man is too far to understand. He throws a note and pencil across the river. The survivors write their full story and toss the note back. The man delivers the letter to the authorities and Air Force. A rescue mission is launched. The 2 men are taken to a nearby village where they finally eat real food after months. Meanwhile, back at the crash site, their fellow survivors hear the news on the radio. They begin preparing themselves. Soon, helicopters arrive, rescuing everyone and flying them back to the city, where their families await with open arms. Everyone is overwhelmed with emotion. They're taken to the hospital, but before heading home, the survivors decide to spend one last night together, remembering the bond they forged during the most harrowing experience of their lives. Out of the 45 people on board, 16 survived only because they made the hardest decisions at the darkest time. And with that powerful message, the movie comes to an end. Let me know in the comments which story you want next. I read all your comments, and thank you so much for your love and support. Let me know if you want an SEO description, title, or hashtag set for this video too.